Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly wondered, wait, what did I come in here for? Or maybe you're halfway through telling a story to a friend, and suddenly the name or detail you were about to share slips right out of your mind. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. As we get older, little lapses like this can become more common, and it can feel frustrating, even a little scary. But here's the good news: many times, memory struggles aren't just about age. They can actually be influenced by simple, everyday choices, especially the food we eat. Think about it. Food is the fuel for your body, but it's also the fuel for your brain. Just like a car runs best on clean fuel, your brain works best when you give it the right kind of nourishment. The tricky part is, some foods sneak into our diets that actually do the opposite. Instead of feeding our brain, they slowly wear it down, making it harder to focus, remember, and stay sharp. The surprising part? Some of these memory-killing foods are things we've been eating for years without realizing the toll they can take. That's why today, we're going to talk about 4 of the biggest culprits, foods that can chip away at your memory and brain health if you're over 50. And don't worry, I won't just tell you what to avoid. I'll also share simple swaps and alternatives so you don't feel deprived. After all, eating should still be one of life's pleasures. So let's start with one of the sneakiest offenders, one that many people can't imagine giving up: sugary foods and drinks. Now, I'm not just talking about candy bars or slices of cake, although those are certainly included. Sugar hides in all kinds of foods we wouldn't even think of, like breakfast cereals, fruit juices, flavored yogurts, and even bread. The problem is, sugar creates chaos in your brain. Every time you eat something high in sugar, your blood sugar spikes, then crashes. Over time, this roller coaster takes a toll on your brain cells. Research has shown that a diet high in sugar can actually shrink the hippocampus, which is the part of your brain responsible for memory and learning. Imagine that, the very structure in your brain that helps you remember where you put your keys or recall a friend's name can get smaller from too much sugar. And beyond memory, sugar also increases inflammation in the brain, which can make it harder for signals to travel smoothly between brain cells. That's why you might notice brain fog, sluggish thinking, or just feeling off after a sugary snack. It's not just in your head, it's literally in your head, inside your brain. But here's the hopeful part. Cutting back on sugar doesn't mean you can never enjoy sweetness again. Nature gives us plenty of options. Fresh fruits like berries, apples, and pears give you natural sweetness along with fiber and antioxidants that actually protect your brain. If you like sweetening your tea or coffee, try a small amount of honey or stevia instead of spoonfuls of white sugar. And when you want a dessert, you can make it a brain-friendly one. Think Greek yogurt with blueberries, or a small square of dark chocolate, which is not only lower in sugar but packed with brain-boosting flavonoids. Now, sugar is one big enemy, but it's not the only one. Another food that often sneaks into our diet and works quietly against memory is refined carbohydrates. I'm talking about white bread, white rice, pastries, crackers, and even mini pastas. At first glance, these might seem harmless. After all, bread has been a staple for generations. But the trouble with refined carbs is that your body processes them almost the same way it processes sugar. Once you eat them, they quickly break down into glucose, spiking your blood sugar and causing those same highs and lows that damage brain health. Think back to the last time you had a big plate of white pasta or a sandwich on fluffy white bread. You might have felt full at first, maybe even energized. But a short while later, you probably felt sluggish, maybe even a little drowsy, and less sharp. That's because refined carbs don't give your brain steady fuel. Instead, they flood it all at once and then leave it running on empty. The science is clear. Diets high in refined carbs have been linked to impaired memory and an increased risk of cognitive decline. It's like feeding your brain with kindling instead of logs. It burns fast and bright but doesn't last. But once again, there's a simple fix. Whole grains are your brain's best friend when it comes to carbs. Think oats, quinoa, brown rice, or whole grain bread. These foods release energy slowly, keeping your blood sugar steady and giving your brain the steady fuel it needs to stay sharp. Even swapping out half your white rice for brown rice or choosing whole grain toast in the morning can make a difference. Over time, these small swaps add up, giving your brain better protection against memory loss. You see, the amazing thing about the brain is that it's resilient. Even if you've been eating sugar and refined carbs for years, your brain can bounce back when you start making better choices. The cells become less inflamed, your memory circuits get stronger, and you feel sharper and more energized in your everyday life. Now that we've uncovered two of the biggest hidden enemies to memory, sugar and refined carbs, it's time to take a look at another common food that might be sitting in your kitchen right now, quietly affecting your brain health without you realizing it. Watching and feel that these insights are meaningful. Please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I warmly invite you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the bell, so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos designed to uplift, inform, and inspire. Your support truly means a lot. It's what keeps us going and allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Now, let's continue this journey together. We've already uncovered how sugar and refined carbs can quietly sabotage your memory, but they're not the only culprits. Let's talk about something many of us keep in our pantries or even order without a second thought when we go out to eat: processed meats. Think about bacon sizzling in a pan, deli slices stacked on a sandwich, or a juicy hot dog at a barbecue. These foods have a way of bringing back memories of family meals or simple comfort. But here's the problem: while they may feel nostalgic, they're not doing your memory any favors. Processed meats are loaded with preservatives like nitrates and nitrites. These chemicals are used to keep the meat looking pink and fresh, but inside the body, they can trigger oxidative stress and inflammation. And as we've talked about, inflammation is one of the biggest threats to brain health. Over time, regularly eating processed meats has been linked not just to memory issues but also to a higher risk of dementia. It's not that having a slice of bacon once in a while will wipe away your memory, but when these foods become a daily habit, they slowly chip away at your brain's ability to function at its best. It's like having a tiny leak in the roof. You don't notice it at first, but eventually, the damage becomes clear. If you're thinking, "But I love the taste of these foods," I hear you. Many of us grew up eating sandwiches with salami or ham, or we love the convenience of grabbing a quick hot dog. But the good news is, there are brain-friendly swaps that can still satisfy your taste buds. Instead of deli meats, try roasting your own chicken or turkey breast at home. Slice it up, keep it in the fridge, and you've got a healthier sandwich filling ready to go. If you're craving something smoky like bacon, you can even experiment with turkey bacon or plant-based options that don't contain the same harmful preservatives. Your brain thrives on clean proteins, things like fish, chicken, beans, lentils, and nuts. These foods give your body the building blocks it needs to repair and protect brain cells. So, when you choose these over processed meats, you're not depriving yourself, you're actually giving your memory a gift. And speaking of brain-damaging foods, there's another sneaky one that shows up in fried foods and packaged snacks: trans fats. Now, you've probably heard about trans fats before, but it's worth understanding just how dangerous they are, especially for memory. Trans fats are often found in things like margarine, fried fast food, packaged pastries, and some crackers or cookies. They're man-made fats, designed to give foods a longer shelf life. But here's the catch: what preserves food on the shelf doesn't preserve your brain. In fact, it does the opposite. Trans fats stiffen the cell membranes in your brain, making it harder for your brain cells to communicate. Imagine trying to have a conversation through a wall instead of over the phone. That's what it's like when your neurons can't connect smoothly. Studies have shown that people with higher levels of trans fats in their blood tend to perform worse on memory tests. And the effect isn't just minor. Even younger people have been shown to forget things more easily when trans fats are a regular part of their diet. Now imagine the impact as we age, when protecting memory is already so important. Here's a simple way to spot them. Whenever you look at a food label, keep an eye out for the words partially hydrogenated oils. That's the code for trans fats. And even if the label says 0 grams of trans fat, if you see partially hydrogenated, there's still a little bit in there. Companies are allowed to round down if it's under a certain amount, but over time, those small amounts add up. The solution? Choose healthier fats instead. Your brain is made up of nearly 60% fat, so it needs the right kind to function properly. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fish like salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds, are like gold for your brain. They reduce inflammation, improve communication between brain cells, and even help protect against memory loss. Even olive oil or avocado oil are much better choices than margarine or processed cooking oils. Think of it this way: every time you swap fried fast food for a home-cooked meal with olive oil and vegetables, you're essentially polishing your memory. Every time you pick salmon over a plate of greasy fries, you're strengthening the very circuits that help you remember your grandchild's laugh or the way your favorite song makes you feel. It's empowering, isn't it? To realize that the little choices you make at the table today can shape how sharp and vibrant your memory will feel tomorrow. None of this is about perfection. It's about small, steady shifts that give your brain the fighting chance it deserves. And what I love most is that these shifts don't just protect your memory, they also make you feel better overall. Less brain fog, more energy, better moods. Food is powerful that way. It doesn't just fill us up, it shapes how we think, feel, and connect with the world. Now, we've talked about sugar, refined carbs, processed meats, and trans fats, and how each of them can quietly chip away at memory if we're not careful. But there's still more to uncover. Some foods don't just affect memory in the moment, they can set off long-term changes in the brain if we let them stick around in our diets. And understanding those is the key to making sure your mind stays sharp and strong, no matter your age. We've already talked about sugar, refined carbs, processed meats, and trans fats. Together, they make up some of the biggest threats to memory and brain health. But there's one more that often slips under the radar, because it's so common in today's diet that many of us don't think twice about it: excessive alcohol. Now, before you get worried, let me be clear, I'm not saying you can never enjoy a glass of wine with dinner or a beer with friends. For many people, a small drink here and there is fine. In fact, moderate amounts of certain drinks, like red wine, may even have some protective antioxidants. The real problem begins when alcohol becomes a regular part of life in larger amounts. Alcohol is what scientists call a neurotoxin, meaning it directly affects the brain. Even in small doses, it slows communication between brain cells. That's why people often feel fuzzy or less sharp after drinking. But over time, heavy or frequent drinking can damage the hippocampus, the part of the brain we rely on for memory and learning. And that damage doesn't just show up as forgetting little details here and there, it can accelerate the path to long-term memory decline. I know for some people, alcohol can feel like a comfort. Maybe it helps you unwind after a long day, or it's tied to social events and celebrations. And it's true, sharing a drink with friends can feel joyful. But the truth is, too much alcohol steals more from us than it gives. It not only affects memory, but it also disrupts sleep, increases anxiety, and even raises the risk of depression, things that only make brain health worse. Here's the encouraging part: the brain has an amazing ability to heal. Cutting back, even just a little, can make a big difference. If you're used to having a few drinks a week, try swapping some of those with sparkling water, herbal tea, or even a non-alcoholic version of your favorite beverage. Not only will you wake up feeling clearer, but you'll also be protecting the very memories that matter most: the laughter with your grandchildren, the stories you share with old friends, the little daily joys that make life rich. So, when we put it all together, we see a clear picture. Sugar, refined carbs, processed meats, trans fats, and too much alcohol, they all chip away at our memory in different ways. One spikes blood sugar and shrinks brain structures, another sneaks in through bread and pasta, another comes in the form of preserved meats, another hides in fried and packaged foods, and the last one dulls the brain's sharpness over time. On their own, each one is harmful, but combined, they create an environment where the brain struggles to stay sharp. But here's the hopeful truth I want you to take away: avoiding these foods isn't about restriction, it's about freedom. It's about freeing your brain from the fog that keeps you from feeling like yourself. It's about choosing meals that fuel your memory so you can keep telling your stories, remembering the details, and enjoying life fully. And remember, you don't have to overhaul everything overnight. Start small. Maybe tomorrow morning you swap white toast for whole grain. Maybe this week you try grilled chicken instead of deli ham. Or maybe tonight, instead of that second glass of wine, you sip on tea while you read or chat with a loved one. Each choice is like a little vote for your future brain health. The beauty of making these small changes is that you'll often feel the difference sooner than you expect. Your mind feels clearer, your energy steadier, and those frustrating little lapses of memory become less frequent. It's like giving your brain a chance to shine again. At the end of the day, protecting memory isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. Every meal is a chance to either feed decline or fuel strength. And now that you know which foods to watch out for, you have the power to make choices that support your sharpness, independence, and joy. So here's my encouragement to you. Take this knowledge and put it into practice. Notice how you feel when you cut back on sugar, when you replace processed meats with fresh proteins, when you choose healthy fats instead of trans fats, and when you treat alcohol as an occasional indulgence rather than a habit. Let those changes remind you that your brain is resilient and that it's never too late to make it stronger. And now I'd love to hear from you. Have you noticed any foods that make your memory feel foggy? Or have you made changes in your diet that helped you feel sharper? Share your experiences in the comments. I think you'll be surprised how many people have been through the same thing, and your story could inspire someone else. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more tips on keeping your body and mind strong after 50. And most of all, remember this, your brain is one of the most precious gifts you have. Treat it kindly, feed it well, and it will keep serving you with clarity, joy, and all the wonderful memories that make life meaningful. Here's to living with a sharp mind, a full heart, and the confidence to enjoy every moment, at any age.